What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Khamzat Chimaev reveals bad news. At UFC 294, Khamzat Chimaev picked up a big win over former pound-for-pound kingpin Kamaru Usman, earning him a crack at Sean Strickland's middleweight title. Unfortunately for both Chimaev and MMA fans, he will have to rehab a hand injury before finalizing a date for his middleweight title fight. The injury will land the undefeated contender in a brace for 4 weeks before doctors determine where to go from there, according to Chimaev's manager, who broke the news through ESPN. Fortunately, it sounds as though he'll likely manage to avoid surgery, which is a good sign regarding a potential fight with Strickland. After the win, Chimaev notably stated he believed he broke his hand in round 1, giving fans reason to fear the worst. Despite the latest update indicating a short layoff for Chimaev, it sounds as though he'll likely be able to return to action in early 2024. Of course, Sean Strickland has made it clear that he doesn't believe Chimaev's performance against Kamaru Usman warrants a title shot. Regardless, he knows that Chimaev is a big name who will help sell pay-per-views. Although there's been no word from the UFC on when the bout may take place, assuming Chimaev doesn't need surgery, the pair are likely to collide before next summer. Next up, let's take a look at Francis Ngannou breaks silence on Tyson Fury fight. This weekend in Saudi Arabia, Francis Ngannou did what few believed he could, as he went the distance with Tyson Fury. Although he lost the official decision, Ngannou's performance left many in the combat sports community confident that he did enough to get the win, including Eddie Hearn, who spoke to Matchroom Boxing after the bout to weigh in.
I'm absolutely lost for words. I mean, Francis Ngannou has never boxed before. And fair play to him. I mean, I didn't think he was overly impressive, but Tyson Fury looked like he's never laced up a pair of gloves before.
After the bout, Ngannou and his team were informed that his performance was so impressive that he would land on the WBC rankings when they release. The day after the fight, Ngannou spoke in a video for his YouTube channel.
I feel pretty good. I wasn't so busted up in the fight. I get hit a couple times, but not too bad. So I was able to manage not to get not to get damage. So I feel pretty good. And regardless of the decision, personally, I'm satisfied about my performance. I know I could have done better, and I will go back, get prepared to do better. But I really believe that I didn't come up short in this fight. I believe that I stand toe to toe with the number 1 boxer in the world for my first match, and basically won the fight.
In the wake of the fight, Ngannou's coach Eric Nixick also spoke with MMA Junkie to discuss the fight, as well as the future.
I think they have to, I really do. I think they have to. After that performance, how can you not, man? And in the ring, like, John Fury, the whole team, the whole Tyson Fury team was just so nice, so gracious. And let's not get it twisted, man. Like, they provided us a great opportunity. We needed 2 to tango. And Tyson kind of gifted that opportunity, and I felt like they kind of thought that they were doing us the favor, but we were trying to spoil that. And I think being the competitor that Tyson Fury is, I'm sure he doesn't want to not give that opportunity, or he definitely wants to take it. Maybe I won't say he didn't take it seriously.
Heading into the fight, the Predator was eager to play spoiler to Fury's plans to jump into a fight with Alexander Usyk. After a hard-fought 10 rounds, it now sounds as though the Gypsy King will take some time off before competing again. After the fight, Frank Warren spoke to Boxing News Online about Fury's next fight. It will go ahead, but it will not be on the 23rd. It was crazy for some people to suggest that it could still go ahead on the 23rd. Fury said in the ring he would fight on the 23rd and he would do it, but he needs protecting from himself, and that's my job. While Fury and Usyk are still expected to clash in Saudi Arabia, it sounds as though fans will have to wait to see how things play out. Now, let's shift gears and take a look at fighters pull out of fight. Fan favorite flyweight Matt Schnell has been forced out of his UFC 295 showdown with Steve Erceg next month. With just weeks to go until the highly anticipated event in New York, the UFC has tapped Alessandro Costa to compete against Erceg. Costa will be joining his teammates Diego Lopez and Lupi Godinez on the card, as he looks to build on a June victory over Jimmy Flick, which returned him to the win column after a loss to Amir Albazi back in December. On the flip side, Erceg will be looking to pick up his second straight UFC win after defeating David Dvorak at UFC 289 back in June. So far, no word yet on how long Schnell will be sidelined for, or what caused him to pull out. However, given how popular he is with fans, it's safe to say they'll be eager to see him back in action as soon as possible. Stay tuned for updates as they become available. Next, let's take a look at Sean O'Malley boxing fight. Sean O'Malley may be eager to be the next MMA star to cross over into boxing. However, undisputed lightweight champion Devin Haney thinks Sugar Sean would be in for a rude awakening if he attempted to make a transition to the ring. In an episode of the MMA Hour last week, Haney hurled some verbal jabs at the UFC bantamweight champion.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, because, you know, it's totally different. You know, whenever the MMA guys come over to the boxing, you know, it's not good for them.
Right.
And it's never gonna be good for them. And the same, if we went to, I don't disrespect the MMA guys because, you know, it's just a different sport. I know that, you know, I can't compete with those guys in the cage, but when they come to the boxing ring, they can't compete with me. So it's just two total different, you know, fights, styles of fight.
After Francis Ngannou's dominant display against Tyson Fury in Saudi Arabia, Haney took to social media to shut down any inspiration that may have grown within O'Malley while watching the fight. In a post directed at Sugar Sean, Haney wrote, "Don't get ahead of yourself. I will still f you up." O'Malley was largely unfazed by the comments, simply responding by writing, "Alright, let's meet up." Of course, in order for O'Malley to box on a massive card, he would have to get permission to do so from the UFC, something they've seemed unwilling to do for fighters after Conor McGregor. Next, let's take a look at fighter breaks silence on failed USADA test. Mayra Bueno Silva's recent win over Holly Holm was overturned to a no contest after news surfaced that she failed a drug test for a prescription ADHD medication. Despite only receiving a brief suspension that'll see her eligible to fight again starting November 29th, Bueno Silva wasn't happy with the situation. While speaking on MMA Fighter's Portuguese-speaking Trocação Franca podcast, she shed light on the situation, while also explaining why it won't be an issue in the future. "I had filed for a TUE a long time ago, but USADA understood that I hadn't provided the necessary documents and asked for more, but I did not go through with it. I went after the doctors last year to file it again to make sure I didn't feel uncomfortable during fight week. I sent them the documents before knowing I had failed the drug test. Now I can use it wherever I want, whenever I want, because it's not a performance-enhancing medication." Despite the failure and subsequent suspension, Bueno Silva is confident that her next fight will be for the vacant bantamweight title. Given that Juliana Pena is expected to also fight for the vacant belt, it could only be a matter of time before the UFC finalizes this bout for the new year. Next up, let's take a look at Sean Strickland censored by the UFC. Sean Strickland is never one to hold his tongue. During a recent episode of Extra Rounds on UFC Fight Pass, the middleweight champ recalled a conversation he had with a father whose son wanted to become a professional fighter. Sean Strickland's advice was simply, don't. As he explained, fighters on Dana White's Contender Series are on contracts that see them make $5,000 to show and $5,000 to win, meaning for those who lose and don't get signed, they have little to show for the years of training. Best case scenario, as he explained, is you win a fight on the Contender Series and get signed to the UFC. However, then, if a fighter goes on a skid, they get cut from the promotion with, again, little to show for the years of dedication. As Strickland continued his rant, pulling back the curtain on the harsh reality many fighters face, while also stating clear that he supports the UFC, his mic cut out. In an Instagram post made this week, Strickland reposted the footage that fans missed, along with a caption which read, "Think this was cut? They're not gonna air any of this technical difficulties, LMAO. This is an all-industry thing. Jeff Bezos can go build a rocket to go to space, but can't pay a couple more dollars. This isn't a UFC thing. This is an American thing." That's what I was saying when the stream cut. While Dana White has allowed fighters to speak their minds in the past, Strickland's comments about the UFC likely won't sit well with the promotional brass. Make sure to leave a comment and you might get featured in our next video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to never miss any MMA news. Check out our video from yesterday if you missed it. See you tomorrow.